hotel mold. Pretty nasty stuff. This is Marco Vogt from www.houseinvestigations.com. You ever wake up in the morning in a hotel with a stuffy nose? That's because probably it's a 4-star hotel, and to be a 4-star hotel you have to have vinyl wallpaper. Vinyl wallpaper is a vapor barrier. You cannot use vinyl wallpaper on interior surfaces. Vinyl wallpaper should never be used on exterior walls. It does not let the walls breathe or dry. If you can imagine, the outside in most hotels would be brick or stone, or some type of facade gets wet from a rainstorm. Then the sun comes out, heats up the brick. The brick then becomes warm and it vaporizes the moisture, which then causes high vapor pressure. The moisture has to go inward. If there's wallpaper, it stops at the wallpaper. Then, of course, the wallpaper glues and drywall, which is paper backing and paper front, which we call also mold food, fungal reservoirs begin to amplify in these areas, coupled with hotel designs where the bathroom vents are all connected up to the rooftop where a fan is sucking that room. So now you have a room that sucks. It's basically being depressurized. It's sucking the air right out of that room. So if you suck air out of the room, new air's got to come into the room. Well, it's going to come through cracks, walls, etc. So this just amplifies the whole scenario of moisture through vapor diffusion traveling through the wall from the outside, getting stuck at the vinyl wallpaper, which is like a plastic vapor barrier. And of course we have mold, odors, and then we have high particulate in the room. I've been to many $100, $200, $300, $400, and $500 per night rooms that have vinyl wallpaper on the outside walls, and 90% of the time there's mold behind there. I've taken hundreds of pictures. Years ago, I've even taken up to the front desk and gotten free rooms. The next few shots will show a gambling casino. We were at the casino doing some dust testing, and when we got into the elevator, it smelled like mold. So they asked us to go up to the upper floors, and sure enough, the upper floors are under construction, and every single room was just full of black mold because they were ripping down all the vinyl wallpaper, and all that mold was traveling down through the elevator shafts and going into the main lobby room. It was unbelievable. There are a few places where interior vapor barriers, which we're talking about today, vinyl wallpaper, do work, and that would be in severe cold climate, up in Alaska somewhere, or at the North Pole where Santa Claus lives. It might work up there. But where we live, USA, most areas, it does not work. Do not install interior vapor barriers or vinyl wallpaper on interior surfaces. Another location you do not want to install interior vapor barriers like plastic or improper insulation is up in your attic. If you do that, moisture needs to travel from your house out. It must dry, it must leave. And if you stop it with plastic or improper installation, it gets trapped, sometimes causes condensation, and it gets wet. In some of these pictures here, you'll see where 2 layers of insulation, water was getting trapped between the 2 layers because of a dew point that was forming right there. It was dripping back down into the wall cavity, causing mold or mildew on the upper drywall paper, and then it was even leaking in through a light. So you do not want to install this stuff in an attic as well. Another location you do not want to install the interior vapor barrier would be a basement or a crawl space wall. Water will condensate at that wall because it's underground. It's a colder temperature, and a dew point will form there as well. You want that wall to be able to dry, especially if it gets wet, and you want the basement to dry. You don't want it to get trapped behind that area. So now you've got plastic on your basement and crawl space wall, water leaking behind it, and you think you've got a waterproofing problem, so you call a waterproofer and pay him 10 grand. Well, the problem is the plastic on the wall in the crawl space in the basement. A lot of basements that are finished also have major odors because there's mold growing behind that basement paneling. Many builders today are also installing plastic visqueen behind the drywall, and they call it an air barrier. Well, that doesn't work either, because if you've got a hot day, humid day, the moisture is going to travel through the wall. It's going to hit that plastic, and if the air conditioner is on in the unit, it'll be colder inside than outside, and a dew point will form on that plastic. That water will then run down that plastic and go to the sill plate. At that sill plate, of course, will be wet, mold will grow there, not to mention wood-borne insect activity that can materialize from that. So we need to dry our homes, we need to drain the rain. By using plastic vapor barriers, interior vapor barriers, we're going to cause problems. It's just a bad idea. Thank you for visiting www.houseinvestigations.com. That's www.houseinvestigations.com. This is Marco Vogt. Thank you.